Do you look at other coaches? Have you got any other mentors outside of the game, or are there people over the years? You mentioned Eddie Jones this summer, but is there anyone else that has helped shape you as a coach?
Yeah, there's lots. I've tried to never have any preconceived ideas of people and then block. I think that's really dangerous. But over the course of years, I've been in touch with Chris Fagan for a long time. He's been a really good friend and mentor. Clarko and I always connect. Now they're opposition coaches. It's difficult.
How do those conversations go? Do you still keep in touch a fair bit?
Yeah, we do. But you obviously don't get into the nitty-gritty of the game itself, and we usually have a blanket rule that a week before and a week after a game... We don't talk because we're all highly competitive. But, no, really good friends. I've kept in touch with David Rath, who's now at the AFL. And I also have a guy who was in the Tasmanian Police Force, who was a assistant coach for me at North Hobart days years ago, who, on any moral dilemmas, I touch base with a lot. But also think, funnily enough, some of your best mentors are actually at your own club. Feedback from your assistant coaches.
How's Wolsey going, back at the Blues?
Yeah, really good. He's passionate. I must admit, I didn't know Wolsey at all other than I understood what he'd achieved in the game. But when he said he wanted to help, he didn't want any money, he didn't want a paid role. He just wants to see Carlton good again, and he's happy to sit one back and not interfere, but if he notices something, words of advice, he'll come and whisper it in our ears. So
the players as well. Does he talk to the playing group?
I think he might do time to time, but it's more of a mentor for the coaches to have someone that's sitting one back who's not there all the time, and also for myself. So he's been terrific.
How do you generate motivation when the results like last year, you can see the growth in the group, but not getting the wins on the board? How do you maintain that motivation within the group?
Yeah, well, we need to have a really strong purpose on what we're going to be. And, you know, we've been inconsistent in that purpose. So that's driving the players. The other thing, when you've got that higher purpose and some autonomy, so players are in a program. And all players go and live the program, but to have flexibility in that program where they can go and own their career, go and chase the best players and look and understand that, like the Cam Polson example. Time in the program where they can work on specific craft. In other words, they're owning their career. That really maintains strong motivation because they're in control. So keep focusing on our higher purpose, who we want to be, our identity, and having autonomy seems to keep the players really strongly motivated.
Some teams in the competition, Brisbane's getting a lot of chat at the moment with the way that, you know, they look like they might go as a footy club because of the list they've been able to develop.
Yeah.
You're very similar in terms of the picks you've had in the last few years, the type of talent that is really starting to grow within your club. How far can you go this year? How much can you improve as a footy club?
Yeah, we're looking for considerable improvement. And the reason we don't put a number on that is for a couple of reasons. One, we don't want to have a ceiling. I think it'd be mad with a young group that can snowball quick to put a ceiling. The other reason we're not putting a number on that is we don't want our players looking too far ahead. They've got to understand that when that Guernsey's on, that game, that contest is the most important thing. So there's a reason that's deliberate around not putting a number on it, but there's no ceiling.
There's a lot of positivity, but is there any times where you might sit back and question what you've done, or how can I do this better?
That's every day we ask, can we do it better? We're steadfast in this rebuild, the way we've gone about it, that we're going to get young talent in and grow it. So there's no questions in that space. No questions in how united our football club's been. Kane Little, Mark Lejudice, Stephen Silvani, we've really enjoyed that. But we always evaluate what we're doing, how we can do it, and if so, can we do it any better?
You started the journey a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago. Then you got the sprouts and everything else, which you've had a bit of fun with along the way, which has been good. You now, it seems like to me that you're starting to be a bit more serious with the maybe third, fourth, fifth year type players at your footy club for that growth.
No doubt. We know with a young group you can have inconsistencies, and we're pushing really hard to try and make them more consistent. However, the fourth years, Jacob Wiedering, Jack Silvani, David Cunningham, Harry Mackay, Charlie Curnow, I think around your 4th year, you've got a real appreciation of what it takes to be an AFL footballer. You've had the highs and lows, you've had enough games, so expectation does and should rise on that group. As Sam Walsh, I think we're going to smile at some things, and then sometimes you won't, because that's what happens with a first-year player. But around your 4th year, I think expectation grows, and so it should for that group.
Yeah, I agree. So you've got your top end, and you've got your young guys coming into the club.
Yep.
You've mentioned about 5 guys there. Have you got the 10 to 15 guys that can take your club for the next 5 to 6 years through to play some serious finals football in that group there?
Yes, and the reason I say yes so quickly is this group is growing up together. So, yes, they've got a responsibility to take the Carlton Football Club forward, but because their friendships are so tight, they'll want to do it for each other, and that's really important. And that's part of the strategy. Get a young group to grow together and be really tight-knit as mates, as well as have the responsibility of taking us forward.
What are your favourite sayings as a coach, or what do the players give you feedback on, more importantly, about what you say all the time?
Well, Jack Silvani did a little skit over at Kent where they took the mickey out of all of us.
That's very courageous, actually.
Yeah, it is courageous.
Yes.
And I didn't realise it, but I must be saying you got a minute, lad, a fair bit when I want to have a chat. So they've taken the mickey out of me on that front. But I do say it's an us, not me mentality a lot, because it's all about the group and the collective more than the individual. So I'm sure they have a bit of fun with that as well.
Do the players realise coaches never forget a thing?
I think they do. We've got memories like elephants. Yeah.
But that must show the dynamic of the group, and it sounds like you take it in the right way as well. You've
got to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yep.
You know, we're so serious, and there's times to be really serious, but there's times to show the human element and have a laugh. And I think this year, more than any pre-season, probably, we've understood that the game's not perfect. There are mistakes, and you can show some personality, and I think that's starting to show in the players as well.